business doing? You know some shit I don't know. I'm not gonna fight you.
Said, wait a minute. I had no money whatsoever.
No one's actually really seen my whole office.
Every hero has an origin story, and so does every star that shines bright on the big screen. From Tom Cruise to Rihanna, these mega superstars have risen from the shadows and have captivated the world with their incredible talent. But what was life like before fame? How did these stars get by before the fat paychecks started coming in? Join us as we take you through the stories of 20 celebrities who had normal jobs before they became famous. Number 20, Tom Cruise. For more than 3 decades, Tom Cruise has been one of Hollywood's biggest box office draws. Rising from the shadows of oblivion to the pinnacle of Hollywood royalty, this mega superstar has grown to become one of the biggest names in the movie industry. But his early days were not so luxurious. Before he was jumping out of planes, riding motorcycles off cliffs, and practicing some of the craziest stunts in cinema history, Tom Cruise had to work several menial jobs. In a 2012 interview with Playboy magazine, Cruise revealed that he had been working paid jobs since he was just 8 years old. He would offer to cut grass in the neighborhood, rake leaves, sell Easter cards and Christmas cards, just to earn extra bucks for his family. Although Cruise is now one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, with a net worth of over $600 million, money was a bit of a problem for his family while growing up. His family dynamics also added a bit of pressure to the whole mix. In another interview with Rolling Stone magazine in 1986, Cruise explained that following his parents' divorce, his mother had to pick up several jobs to keep the family together, which included selling electrical appliances. His mother's impressive work ethic ingrained in him the importance of hard work and dedication in the pursuit of his dreams. Thankfully, Cruise would soon find a home in the alluring hills of Hollywood and eventually become one of the most revered leading men in the industry. Number 19, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. As an actor and athlete, The Rock has enjoyed one of the richest careers in Hollywood history. His journey from WWE superstar to world-famous action star has been nothing but dramatic. From slamming opponents in the square ring and making them feel what The Rock is cooking, to dazzling audiences with his brawl and captivating performances, Dwayne Johnson has distinguished himself as one of the best to ever do it. But back before the glistening streets of Hollywood came calling, The Rock had to work some menial jobs to make a living, which included working as a dishwasher. At the age of 13, Johnson started developing those biceps at Emilio's Pizza in Honolulu, where he earned just $3.45 an hour. Of course, he makes a ton of money today and has amassed a staggering sum of over $800 million. However, some aspects of his old job seem to have stuck with him. Apparently, the action star has grown the habit of washing his dishes with his own hands, rather than using a machine. While it's quite funny to imagine this muscle-bound man wearing an apron and huddled over a kitchen sink, The Rock claims his dishwashing days are far from over. But that's not all. The actor claims he even tried his hands at professional football, playing for the University of Miami at the time. And although he showed great potential for the game, a stream of injuries made it quite impossible for him to follow the career path. He would eventually find his footing in the world of professional wrestling before landing into the waiting arms of Hollywood. Number 18, Elon Musk. Before he climbed to the top of the food chain and became the richest man in the world, Elon Musk was just a humble guy who worked odd jobs to earn a quick buck for himself and his family. The Tesla CEO has grown to become one of the biggest names in the world, and probably the most ambitious billionaire in America, with his dream of colonizing the planet Mars. But things weren't always so easy for Elon. At the age of 12, the future world's richest man created his first video game, Blaster. The source code of the game was later acquired by a South African computer magazine called PC and Office Technology. For the deal, Elon got $500, serving as his first taste of the sweet dough available in the world of tech. Then, while living in British Columbia, teenage Elon found himself working as a boiler room cleaner, where he earned a decent $16 an hour. He would don a hazmat suit, squeeze through a narrow tunnel that led into the boiler room, and shovel hot muck through the tunnel into a wheelbarrow. It was a tough job, but Elon wasn't one to back down from a challenge, a trait that has marked his journey from humble beginnings to world-famous billionaire. He also took on odd jobs at his cousin's farm, tending vegetables, shoveling grain bins, and cutting logs with a chainsaw. While at the University of Pennsylvania, Elon and his roommate Adeo Ressi also tried their hands at running a nightclub, renting a cheap frat house to college students on a weekend to earn a quick buck. These menial jobs built up a resilience in young Elon, one that eventually took him to heights that have been deemed unreachable. Number 17, Kim Kardashian. Today, there are very few names in reality television that can rival the Kardashians. From their hit reality shows, high-profile marriages, and countless successful business ventures, the family has grown to become one of the richest in America. One of the most famous members of the family, Kim Kardashian, has successfully transformed into the face of reality television. But were things always so easy for the billionaire? Before Kim became a household name, she also had to work a couple of menial jobs, although her idea of menial may differ from others featured on this list. Despite her cushy upbringing in Calabasas, California, which is one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the state, Kim had always had a job since she was a teenager. Her career started in retail when she began working at a clothing store called Body. Then, after 4 years, she discovered eBay, and this was the birth of another business venture. After selling her $700 Manolo Blahnik shoes for $2,500 on the site, Kim saw the potential in the fashion industry and began selling everything she wasn't wearing. She began to make so much profit that this became a staple source of income for her until bigger money came. She also worked as a closet girl for Paris Hilton, and it was this job that introduced her to the fame and paparazzi of Hollywood. Today, Kim is worth over $1.7 billion, with several successful businesses to her name, a testament to the resilience she has built since she was a teenager. Number 16, Tiffany Haddish. Back in 2017, comedian Tiffany Haddish found her one-way ticket to stardom with the no-holds-barred, raunchy Comedy Girls trip. Since then, she has been featured in some huge projects and earned a reputation for her impressive comedy performances. But before being thrust into the spotlight, Haddish had to take the difficult route, working menial and odd jobs to make ends meet and sharpen her skills. As a teenager, she discovered a passion for making her classmates laugh, and this became the bedrock of her first career. Following the advice of a social worker, Haddish found a home at the Laugh Factory Comedy Camp, a free summer program offered by the comedy club chain to teach underprivileged children how to perform stand-up comedy. The experience at the camp would prove vital in Haddish's journey of self-discovery and the mastery of her skills. After graduating from high school, she decided to pursue a comedy career, using her life as a source material. She performed at bar mitzvahs, local comedy clubs, and other small shows. But there was so little money coming in at the time that she was forced to live in her car. While working to get her career on track, she also worked a number of jobs, including customer service for Air New Zealand, at the Los Angeles International Airport and Alaska Airlines. But in 2006, Haddish got her first big break as a contestant on the television comedy competition show Who's Got Jokes? The rest, they say, is history. Number 15, Steve Buscemi. Actor, director, screenwriter, comedian. Steve Buscemi wears many hats. But before the whole world was introduced to his captivating comedic performances, Buscemi wore a different type of hat. The actor had kick-started his professional acting career in 1985 with the comedy film The Way It Is. And since then, he has grown to become one of the busiest and most sought-after actors in Hollywood. But he wasn't so confident in his acting. After leaving high school, Buscemi's father encouraged him to take the civil service exam, and while he waited for an opening with the fire department of New York, he decided to try his hands at a couple of menial jobs. This included working as a gas station attendant, an ice cream truck driver, and a theater usher. But in 1980, he eventually landed a job at the fire department, although he continued to act. It wouldn't be until 1984 before he would bow out of the job to devote himself to acting. However, following the devastation of the 9/11 attack, Buscemi decided to don his fireman hat one more time, offering assistance where he could as the heroes of New York worked to rescue the survivors of the World Trade Center bombing. Number 14, Kevin Hart. From his childhood, actor and comedian Kevin Hart has always been obsessed with stand-up comedy and comedians in general. According to Hart, comedy was the only reliable coping mechanism to battle the trauma of his early days. Today, he has grown to become one of the most successful comedians in Hollywood, with several notable projects to his name. However, back before the money and fame came in abundance, Kevin Hart also worked a couple of jobs you might find quite surprising. One of them was a shoe salesman, a job he didn't find quite satisfying. While it might be hard to imagine Kevin Hart trying to market a pair of shoes, this was his reality before he eventually quit to focus on comedy full-time. However, taking such a huge leap at that phase of his career was a significant risk, as it meant that the paychecks weren't coming in as they used to. Thankfully, Hart's dedication would soon pay off, and with a net worth of over $450 million, it's safe to say this guy has made a decent buck for himself. Number 13, Madonna. It's hard to imagine that Madonna has been anything else other than a superstar. But before she slid into our hearts with her astonishing beauty and captivating melodies, Madonna had to work some normal jobs to earn a living. Imagine walking into a Dunkin' Donuts in the 70s, and right there on the other side of the counter is Madonna, ready to take your order. That's right. Before shooting to fame, Madonna worked at the Dunkin' Donuts in Times Square, New York City. But her donut serving days wouldn't last too long before her mischievous side took over. Taking the next turn in her life and career, Madonna switched to posing with without clothes for art classes taught by photographer Martin Schreiber, who later sold the pictures to Playboy magazine. Then in the 1980s, she joined the Breakfast Club, a rock band which comprised her then love interest Dan Gilroy and his brother. However, contrary to what you might expect, she didn't actually sing. Instead, Madonna started out on the drums and guitar, before she eventually quit the band to forge her own path. Now, at 65, Madonna remains one of the most iconic names in the music industry, with several awards and accolades to her name, a proof of the willpower that was built over years of adversity and hard work. Number 12, Michael Jordan. Just like Madonna, many other superstars have become ingrained with their famous persona, that it's hard to imagine they had a normal life before the fame. Take Michael Jordan as an example. This mega athlete has risen to the pinnacle of excellence in the world of basketball, capturing the hearts of millions of fans worldwide. But before he dazzled on the court, Jordan had to contribute to his family's budget just like everyone else in the household. During his childhood years, Jordan's family struggled financially for a while. So one summer, his mom Dolores signed him up as a maintenance man in a hotel. Beyond the financial gain, Dolores wanted his son to learn the value of hard work, a lesson that would stick with Jordan for the rest of his life and prove vital in his meteoric rise. At the time, the dream of becoming a future NBA legend had crept into his heart, and after this one job, he never took on another employment. Instead, he chose to dedicate the bulk of his time to perfecting his magical moves in the sport that made him the man he is today. Number 11, Adele. While she may be a multi-millionaire now, with a highly successful music career to keep the money flowing, Grammy Award-winning singer Adele never forgets her working-class roots. Back in the day, before her soothing melodies echoes through the corridors of our hearts, Adele had to take on simple jobs. Turns out she used to work in a cafe in her native hometown of Tottenham in North London. While working there, she even did so well that she was promoted from server to a full-blown chef after just a year on the floor. While the experience gave her some valuable cooling prowess, the pay wasn't so impressive. At the time, the future superstar made just £25 for a whole day's work, but she would soon find herself rolling in the deep as her music career kicked off. Today, Adele is one of the most respected and influential music artists in the world, but her origin story reveals that sometimes the greatest treasures can be hidden in the most unexpected places. Number 10, Harrison Ford. Over the course of his career, Harrison Ford has earned his place on the Mount Rushmore of Hollywood royalty. But before he shone bright on the big screen with hit classics like Indiana Jones and, of course, Star Wars, Ford had to take on some normal jobs to make some quick bucks. Before his acting career shot to the skies, Harrison Ford worked as a carpenter. This was back in the 1970s. But soon, things started looking up, and huge movie roles started coming in. During his early days as an actor, Ford had to distinguish himself as Harrison J. Ford, in contrast to the silent movie actor of the same name. But that's not the only fact most people don't know about our favorite Han Solo. Although most people know him as an actor, Ford is also a well-known pilot, pulling off heroic real real-life rescues. His piloting career almost took a nosedive when he suffered a severe plane crash in 2015, but luckily, he made it out alive. For over 60 decades, Harrison Ford has dominated Hollywood as one of the most influential leading men, while raking in over $300 million. Not surprisingly, he's still very active in the movie scene, and doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. Number 9. Rihanna. From the early days of Pon de Replay to the astronomical rise of Fenty, Rihanna has sure come a long way. Transforming from a music superstar to a fashion mogul, the Barbadian-born artist has established her legacy as a force to be reckoned with. But before she released the tunes that made us dance and fall in love, Rihanna followed a different path entirely. Back in her home country of Barbados, Rihanna was an army cadet in a sub-military program. It's pretty hard to imagine Rihanna in the military, but this was the path she had to follow before stardom came calling. In 2004, 2 years before her first hit single took the airwaves by storm, she even won a beauty pageant and was crowned Miss Combermere. In the same year, she met Jay-Z, who was the president of Def Jam Records at the time. And from then on, she had only continued to rise in leaps and bounds, both in her music career and personal brands. With a net worth of about $1.4 billion, it's safe to say this 16-year-old girl from Barbados has captured the true essence of the American dream. Number 8. Will Smith. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has also come a long way since he first appeared on our screens. Since the late 1980s, Will Smith has held Hollywood in a chokehold, starring in some of the biggest box office hits, and establishing his legacy as one of the most successful actors in history. While Smith enjoys quite the luxurious life today, things weren't always so plush and smooth. As a young child, Smith discovered his passion for music, especially rapping. By the time he transitioned into his teen years, he was dropping bars alongside Jeff Townes, touring and wowing the crowd with his effortless delivery. He also had to work alongside his father, installing refrigerators in clients' homes. Although the job wasn't all that exciting, the experience taught him the importance of hard work, and the income wasn't all that bad. He would eventually quit the job to pursue his lifelong dream of shining on the Hollywood landscape. And today, Will Smith has earned his place among the greatest to ever rise in the movie industry. Number 7. Jennifer Aniston. Rachel from Friends has grown to become one of the most beloved women in Hollywood, earning roles in hit movies like Murder Mystery, Horrible Bosses, Wanderlust, and countless others. But before Jennifer Aniston landed her iconic role in Friends, she had to hold down a regular for quite some time. While waiting for her turn to step into the spotlight, Aniston worked as a waitress in New York City for years. The journey to stardom was far from easy, and after appearing on at least 6 failed television shows, it seemed Aniston's career would never kick off. While she continued to work towards her dream, she also had to work as a telemarketer selling timeshares in the Poconos. As she would later reveal, the job was a flop and she didn't make a single sale. But that's not all. Besides waiting tables and telemarketing, Aniston also held a gig cutting hair. When she was in junior high, she would offer to give haircuts for $10, a skill that still comes in handy from time to time. Soon, the world was so wrapped up in her beauty and incredible acting skills that she didn't have to work a regular job anymore. But those days taught her lessons that would remain with her forever. Number 6. Nicki Minaj. For the past decade, Nicki Minaj has established herself as a dominant figure in the world of hip-hop. With several awards and certifications to her name, as well as one of the largest fan base in the world, Nicki has held the industry by its throat for a long time, and she doesn't ever plan to let go. But before her bars broke records, the superstar had to take on some simple jobs to earn a living. First, she worked as a customer care representative at a phone company, attending to the needs of disgruntled customers. But this regular 9-to-5 job never gave her the satisfaction she desired, and soon she would quit to pursue her music career. She also worked as a Red Lobster waitress in the Bronx, New York City. But unfortunately, she got fired due to her bad attitude towards the customers. According to Nicki herself, working as a waitress in a seafood restaurant brought some musical inspiration. Soon, the whole world was dancing to the tunes and melodies she crafted in those desperate times. And the results speak for themselves today. Before we go on with the rest of the video, here's our subscribers' pick for today. As we explore the origin stories of some of Hollywood's biggest stars, their stories before fame stand as a testament to the power of determination, hard work, and resilience. Their epic tales remind us that dreams are valid, and true talents never go unnoticed. As we ponder on their journey, we can't help but wonder, what if these men and women chose to remain in their day jobs? Would the world have been denied of their genius? Which of these stories did you find shocking? Share with us in the comments section below. Now let's get back to the video. Number 5. Sylvester Stallone. Before hitting it big in Hollywood, action star Sylvester Stallone had to make some tough decisions as a struggling actor in New York City. Before Rocky punched his way into our hearts and Rambo shot through every wall that kept him in the shadows, Sylvester Stallone was just an ordinary man trying to get by. Back in the early 70s, Stallone worked a wide variety of odd jobs to keep himself afloat and his dreams alive. One of the most notable ones was his job as a lion cage cleaner at the Central Park Zoo. Strange as it may seem, this job allowed Stallone to get up close and personal with these majestic creatures, providing him with a different perspective on life, and perhaps even inspiring some of his later roles. This unique job required him to clean up after the lions, feed them, and maintain their living spaces. While it was not as glamorous as the kind of lifestyle he would later be blessed with, these early days forged his life like gold in a crucible, building a resilient spirit that has helped him grow both as a person and as a superstar. Number 4. Margot Robbie. Back in 2008, Margot Robbie kickstarted her acting career, and she would soon receive several accolades for her remarkable performance. But it took a while before her career made a headway, and in the meantime, Robbie had to take on several jobs that might surprise you. According to the actress herself, she has taken on all kinds of jobs you can imagine. From working in restaurants behind the bars and in the kitchen to doing retail and even working as a secretary, the list is endless. Throughout her life, Robbie has always considered herself a woman of action and would often take on up to 3 jobs at the same time. Even more incredible was her job at Subway, where she made amazing sandwiches for customers. This love for perfectly crafted sandwiches is a trait she shares with her on-screen persona Harlequin. Eventually, she switched to acting full-time, and soon the whole world was enamored by her acting prowess and beauty. With several awards to prove her worth, Margot Robbie is undoubtedly one of the most successful women in Hollywood today. Number 3. Hugh Jackman. Known for his versatility and ability to blend into several different characters, Hugh Jackman has grown to become one of the most influential actors in Hollywood. From the first time he burst onto the scene, his undeniable charm and remarkable acting skills have captivated our attention, and we can't ever seem to get enough. But as a teenager, Jackman was a far cry from the actor that we know and love today. Due to his physical appearance and athletic background, Jackman once worked as an assistant physical education teacher. But his teaching days wouldn't last too long, as his acting career soon picked up and started landing roles in hit movies like X-Men, The Greatest Showman, and Les Miserables. But the craziest of his old jobs would be his gig as Coco the Clown. Back before landing the Wolverine role, Jackman would perform at children's parties, and sometimes this didn't go all too well. Over the course of his rich career, the actor has amassed several awards, including a Grammy Award, a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, and a special Tony Award, and he remains one of the top leading men in the American movie industry. Number 2, Paul McCartney. In the 1960s, the whole world was introduced to the new wave of popular music, and this is in part thanks to the Beatles. This iconic band was able to transform the genre into a creative and highly commercial art form. Paul McCartney, a vital member of this band, played a key role in the transformation. But beyond the Beatles, McCartney also enjoyed a highly successful career and is regarded as one of the most popular solo performers of all time in terms of both sales and concert attendance. But before his music career picked up, Paul McCartney worked various jobs to make ends meet. This included a brief stint as a delivery boy for a local bakery and his job as a cinema usher. McCartney was also said to have worked at a warehouse, where he had to engage in some grueling physical labor. Number 1. Melissa McCarthy. Comedian Melissa McCarthy is one of the highest paid actresses in Hollywood presently, but back in the early days of her career, things weren't so smooth. When this comedy queen first moved to Los Angeles, she had to share a studio apartment, didn't own a car, and was struggling financially. To keep the roof over her head and pay her bills, McCarthy had to work as a barista at a Santa Monica Starbucks. Even though she is transformed into a much-beloved actress herself, McCarthy recalled being starstruck and nervous a couple of times when she had to attend to a couple of famous people. Over the years, the world has come to appreciate her comedic genius, and with many highly successful roles under her belt, it's safe to say that this barista has come a really long way. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next